does he understand why the people of these islands, especially those of us in Scotland, treat him with such care? Before the election, this Prime Minister said he would lower energy bills by £300. Since he took office, they've gone up by £149. He said he would protect the winter fuel payment, but now he's in power, he's stripped it off our pensioners.
Today it's emerged that the Labour Party's largest donation came from a Cayman Islands registered hedge fund with shares in fossil fuels, arms manufacturers and private healthcare. They took £4 million from a hedge fund that invests in everything they claim to hate, basically, on a tax haven that they claim that they want to clamp down on. The donation fell within the 1 week window where Labour didn't have to declare it until after the election. So it looks like they were trying to, maybe hide it.
Welcome to today's video. Have you ever seen the British Parliament erupt like a battlefield? Well, it just did, when one MP finally lost patience and tore into Prime Minister Keir Starmer with no filters, no politeness, and no hesitation. Starmer sat silently, humiliated, as Scottish MP Dave Dugan delivered a fiery takedown that echoed across the chamber and left everyone stunned. Before the election, Starmer made bold promises. He claimed he would cut energy bills by £300, but since taking office, bills have risen by £149.
For it by extending the windfall tax on oil and gas companies in the North Sea who've made much bigger profits than they expected, but also because our proposal, which is to prevent those energy prices increases going forward, will also dampen inflation, and therefore the money that would otherwise be paid on our debt because inflation is so high would not have to be paid. So that's how we'll pay for it. You know, as you said just a moment ago, millions of families are really struggling to make ends meet, to pay their bills, and the price cap is going to go from just under about £2,000 per household to £3,500 in October, and then to £4,200 in January. And there'll be millions of people watching this who say, I just can't afford that increase. So we've got a choice, really.
He vowed to protect winter fuel payments for pensioners, and then stripped them away. For struggling families and elderly citizens, these weren't just statistics. They were lifelines. Now, those promises are shattered. While ordinary people ration heat and skip meals, energy giants continue to post record profits, untouched and unchallenged. So why has Starmer remained silent while corporations thrive? Follow the money. Reports reveal Labour accepted £4 million from a Cayman Islands hedge fund invested in fossil fuels, weapons, and private healthcare. Add another £730,000 in so-called dark money funneled behind the scenes to boost Starmer's image, and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. This isn't leadership for the people. It's politics for the powerful. It's about control, branding, and keeping donors happy, not protecting citizens. But perhaps the coldest betrayal came when Starmer cut support for pensioners. He once stood beside them, promising compassion and protection. Now, in the dead of winter, they're left in the cold, literally. When questioned in Parliament, Starmer defended the decision as a tough choice. But for thousands of elderly Britons choosing between heating and eating, it was heartless. A leader's job is to protect the vulnerable, not punish them. Then came another betrayal, the WASPy women. These women spent years fighting for justice after their pensions were taken by austerity. Starmer stood with them, smiled for the cameras, and promised support. But once he gained power, he turned his back. Their pain became a photo opportunity. That's not leadership, that's exploitation. Finally, Dave Dugan said what millions of people were thinking. He stood up in Parliament and declared, "This one-trick phony says one thing and does another." Does he understand why the people of these islands, especially Scotland, treat him with such contempt? The chamber erupted. Even Nigel Farage couldn't hold back his laughter. For a moment, the mask slipped, and the truth was exposed. Keir Starmer's rise wasn't built on honesty or conviction, but on calculation and image. Behind every polished speech stands a man more loyal to corporate donors than to the public. He promised change but delivered betrayal. He traded principle for power, compassion for convenience, and truth for political survival. Because in the end, a leader who forgets his people will always lose their respect, no matter how perfect his image, how sharp his suit, or how red his tie.